Welcome. Well, I've known this day was coming for 4 years. I still find myself woefully unprepared to explain my Bonner experience in the super generous 10 minutes I've been given. I wish I could sum up my experiences in the times I cherished Heather's laughter and smiles, or the times I was offered coffee with a side of dad jokes by Blake, or the times I've had to hear so many Bonners, including senior interns, brag about and gush about how hot Brian is. I can recount all the projects I've completed, the marketable skills I've gained, and speak to all the conversations that have taught me to question everything I thought I knew. But that wouldn't tell anyone truly about my time in the program or how it's made me the person I am today. My relationship with the Bonner program began in an interesting way, to say the least. A chance encounter led me to it, and I did minimal research and fell in love. A high school senior, I'd engaged a number of times, but I never thought what it meant to be part of sustained service or be in a program that taught you how to reflect, how to think. I thought I already knew that. Still, I loved the idea of Bonner long before I even liked the idea of UR. I knew what I had to do. I used UR to get to Bonner. Well, technically, that's a romantic rewriting of history, or what some might call fake news. I also heard that Michael J. Fox sent his kids here, and a mentor encouraged me that what's good enough for a rich white man is good enough for me. Regardless, I applied to UR, I applied to Bonner, and before I knew it, opportunity was knocking, or to say it more accurately, Heather was calling. As a first year, my goals for the 4 years were to keep my friendships, stay with my boyfriend, and let Bonner be what made my college experience worth the stress and all the student loans. Contrary to what my empty ring finger says, at least two of those things happened. Young and faithful, I did not doubt for a minute that Bonner was good for me. I had no idea the relationship would change or how it would evolve over my course of my 4 years in the program. A naive freshman, I thought the Bonner Scholars Program was a fun way to volunteer and get off campus. I thought I'd just do a little bit of learning and engage a little, but I'd be able to leave my privilege behind and I'd be able to be part of something, not grow. It wasn't supposed to be about me, it was about other people. I carried preconceived notions that volunteering was about leaving your life and doing something for someone else. I thought it was a simple way to mitigate personal privilege. However, once I began my Bonner internship, these ideas would face fierce challenges. From my Bonner internship, I applied to Greater Richmond Stop Child Abuse Now, SCAN. I did not at the time realize how intensive a long-term internship could be. Even without personally interacting with the victims of the violence that we fought to combat, I found myself compelled to engage, compelled to give as much as I could. I struggled to leave my work at the office, and even more, I struggled to see how I could actually make a difference. Unlike many other Bonners, I actually lived in Richmond, and the social justice issues I encountered were deeply connected to my life. I did not have the ability to have conversations regarding Richmond or these people I hoped to help without thinking of the scars and inequalities that would carry me as I drove home, leaving the Richmond bubble and leaving campus. Further, I underestimated the impact of my own past on my experiences. At my first meeting with my site supervisor, I disclosed that the reason I got involved with SCAN was because of my own experiences with child sexual abuse. She gave me comments about reaching out and making sure I felt comfortable with anything I got involved with, but I didn't heed her comments. I thought that I could handle it. After all, I was mostly working in prevention. My job was to be happy and optimistic. She, a family therapist, understood more than I could have that working with these issues was deeply personal and from any angle can be hard on a person. As an excitable, doe-eyed first year, I was so sure it was going to be easy. The work was important and I was working in an office. How personal could my impact really be? And how could it really change how I felt about what I was doing? I had not thought about my experiences being molested during the application process or during my first few weeks, but the more I went to the office, suddenly I was reliving a lot of my old memories I'd been suppressing. My internal battle intensified during the second semester of my first year when I suffered an unwanted sexual experience. It was hard to see myself as a victim when I was buying into the mindset that those people were the ones I helped, not who I was. I had crossed the line from powerless to on the line of power when I started being a Bonner. It was my job to be a savior in training, not a victim. At that point in my life, I thought it was much better to set myself far away from the people we served, as my coworkers seemed to do. I struggled silently to come to terms with this clash of my feelings of what I understood as my responsibility. A lot of you are probably awaiting the pivotal moment of change when I realized that my personal connection made my work more grounded, more amazing, and it was easy for me to conquer the world. You're wrong. There isn't a happy ending, at least not in the ways you would think. I come from a tradition of not speaking to the things that strain you, as one should, or glossing over them. I'll give you a clarifying example. I've told many people at the university I'm poor, even bragged about it. I do not explain what I mean by that. I'll clarify now. I've paid the way for my family through a combination of babysitting, jobs, and scholarships since before I started college. My mother, a disabled woman, has struggled for nearly a decade to find work. And I grew up not telling people what I went through because I thought it made me weak. I thought being personal with people made you weak. What you shared was meant to be what you could contribute, not what you were going through. As I returned from my sophomore year, I spent my fall semester privately reflecting on my unique position at the meeting of these worlds, the volunteer and one of those people who needs us. I accepted for the first time that you cannot separate your personal experiences from the service you do. At some point, service runs over into your real life, and your personal life will mix in with your service. This is powerful. This is necessary. It is how we learn. It is how we grow. Whether that be from tying a conversation in your personal life to your work in the community, or maybe utilizing your academics to reckon with what you encounter in your service, it happens, as well it should. I had this lesson reaffirmed the following year when I participated in volunteering at Overby Shepherd Elementary School. My job was to help students struggling with literacy. It was one of the most selfish things I ever did in my life. I did not solve Overby's problems, nor did I change a child's life forever. However, I gained a new understanding of my story and my passion for education. It was in that capacity I gained a new pride for my education, having prepared me to tell my story that no one writes for me, I write for myself. It was in that capacity I attended classes on justice and how to confront our privilege in a way that makes this world a better place, how to engage in community. And for the first time, I found myself confronting speaking in the abstract, saying those people or other people are helping these kids as if they're people without agency and people that will never have it, as if they're people that we have a duty to save from themselves. Do you know what it really means when you say those communities and those people? It separates us. This Richmond bubble is something we carry in our rhetoric and where we live, and we don't drop that when we enter these cities. We think we are going on these trips and we are making a difference, but often we're still thinking of them as those people we learned about, those people we write about. We're using our academics to separate us rather than to bring us together. They are our neighbors and friends. Bonner has taught me to question why I continue to separate myself when I'm one who lives in this community. I'm one who's gone to these schools. It's painful, but I have to admit that sometimes I must question, am I one of the elite? Am I being conscious of the fact that I have this privilege? To what extent am I really helping with my presence, and to what extent am I actually hurting? The Bonner Scholars Program has given me many other incredible insights about my life and the world around me. I learned about Richmond. I have a new definition of community service, and I carry everyday lingering questions about what it means to be an active citizen. The abundance of gifts is quite troubling when I cannot say that I've given half as much to the community I've given myself to for 4 years. Perhaps my time in the program has been selfish. By this I mean that what I did was unconsciously self-serving, while well-meaning. My service has fostered intimate learning that I would not otherwise have had. I think we know this happens. This is a flyer for the Center for Civic Engagement, and it talks about all the benefits that students stand to gain when they get engaged. Things about how it can help your health, how it can help your academics. But again, this is us saying what service can do for us, not what it can do for others. I think we know deep down at a base level, service is highly personal. It's not something we do for our resume. It's not something we do to check off a box. It's something we do because we care, and we should. The things we discussed in Bonner meetings, in the office, in our one-on-ones were not lost on me. I was lucky. I was privileged enough to cross the line of privilege and volunteer instead of just working a job, going to university, and engaging in dialogue surrounding my actions as a member of the community. I had previously thought that civic duty meant voting. The Bonner program taught me increasingly that it means making investments in the communities around you through money, your time, your care, your passion, your uncomfortability. Anything you stand to gain is something you also have to lose and share with others. Now I also have to consider what opportunities I have to be an active agent for social justice wherever I choose to go. Getting a job doesn't mean I'm just setting myself up for success. For me, it means I also have to mitigate my privilege and make sure that I'm giving back to others. It's something I have to do, not something I'm choosing to do, because I have this new awareness that I cannot shake. Trust me, I've tried. Whether I end up working with a nonprofit, as I wish now to do, or I enter the business world, I will be able to take the knowledge I gain and apply it to how I make connections with the people around me. I will continue to seek conversations about what we as citizens owe each other. I will prioritize the opportunities I have to exercise my civic rights and work on behalf of other people, whether that be through writing in my local representatives or cleaning up playgrounds on my weekends. Though Bonner has at times been both my rock and my hard place, I will certainly take my precious lessons in humanity and engagement with me as I go. My life as a Bonner will not end here. 4 weeks does not mean that it's the beginning of the end, as I once thought it did. After graduation, I will continue to be a Bonner. I will continue to seek difficult conversations. I will continue to question everything I think I know, including what inclusive social justice work looks like, how we can actually help, how we can actually give back. And I'll continue to spread Bonner love through laughter over cups of coffee and by gushing over how hot my passion for social justice is. Thank you.